Okay. Read the following statements and then write a verbal response. Okay, so the first one here. After I checked out the hospital and returned home, I discovered that some personal items were missing. I think a member of your staff stole these items and I want you to reimburse me for the losses. So I have here how I would respond to this is if I was a manager or somebody who was of importance who had to say, okay, ma'am, I understand what you're saying. Just kind of elaborating back to her that I understand where she's coming from. Could you explain what personal items were missing would be the first thing I would ask her. Reason being for this is because if, depending on what the item was, if it was something that was $15, $20, very inexpensive to me, and it was just a simple problem I could just have go away. Um, yeah, I just said, depending on the item, if it was less than $20, I just robbed them staying overnight anyway. So chances are I probably made a little bit more money on them staying on the room than whatever the item was even worth, so to speak. So yeah, it would depend on the item. If it was an expensive item, I would ask more questions. I would ask questions like, "Do you recall what the staffer looked like?" Figure more info out, and tell her I'd call her back. Like I'd probably go ask my employee, like, "Hey, she had this, or they're missing items." Get their side of the story before I just, before I reimburse her or before I even paid her, kind of anything. So that's how I'd handle statement one. Statement two, one of your waiters. One of your waiters was very rude to my wife who had lunch at your cafe yesterday. What should have been a pleasant lunch with friends was ruined by the young man's attitude. So for this one, okay, well, first of all, if someone comes in and they're complaining about someone's attitude, especially the next day later, correct? Yesterday, yeah. So they came in as of yesterday. So they came back to tell me, so I was like, oh, this person, I don't know, has a vendetta or something against the waiter. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not too sure. I would say, what did they say? Okay, what did he say to you that was so rude? And then I would kind of just hear them out, hear what they had to say. And then kind of after I hear their side of the story, because 9 times out of 10, if a customer's talking to you, they just want to have their story told to kind of vent to you. That's usually how it goes. That's how reviews are on the internet, or at least what I think is my opinion. And I would ask them, what would you like me to do about it? What do you want me to do? They're not here today. They're off. Like, what do you want me to fire this person, or you'll write about a review, or what do you want me to do? Do you want money, or obviously, I guess this is what this is about. But I tell them okay, and if they said something like, "Oh, I want $10 or $20," I'm like, "Oh no, miss, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna get," and I would go and talk to my employee. Because he's probably worked here for a while, and I trust what his word is over probably the customer who's just angry over nothing. It just kind of depends on the situation, is what it is. I'd probably just tell them I'd follow up with them, the customer who was angry at the time, and then I'd go talk to my employee and get to the bottom of it, hear both sides. So that's how I'd handle situation number two. Situation number three. Today my expense account payment request was returned by our accounting department. The person who checked my form says your hotel made an error and I was overcharged. My request for travel expense reimbursement will not be processed until I turn in a corrected invoice. I need that money today. So pretty simple how I'd understand that is to my expense account. Okay, very simple. That's kind of, from what I'm understanding and reading this, that's kind of on them. I will gladly go back and check the records to see what our side of, like you're saying that this shows, the account record's wrong. Well, I'm going to check my end just to kind of see, that way I'm not giving any money or doing anything to lose expenses, I guess, is on how the assignment is for how the business would go. I'll reprint the account invoice to what my records show is accurate so they can get the reimbursement sorted out. And that would be at no expense to me. So that's how I would handle those three.